Welcome to How to Get Found Online. Hi, I'm Lori Wang. I'm a digital marketing consultant, trainer, and coach based in London. And previously, I worked with companies such as Google and Ogilvy, where I honed my skills in marketing. And I'm very passionate about sharing my knowledge and expertise in digital marketing with others around the world. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Lori Wang. You can also head over to my website on loriwang.com, where you'll find more useful resources and free content to help you get started. Now, in this course, the learning objective is to familiarize yourself with the marketing funnel, understanding growth marketing strategies, make data-based informed decision-making in your communications, and understanding effective remarketing and personalization techniques. So this is the agenda of the course. Number 1, why do you need to be using digital marketing? Number 2, what are the various digital marketing channels that you need to understand? Number 3, how are you going to apply these to your business and your online brand? And number 4, taking action on next steps. So number 1, why digital marketing? Let's take a look at the online market. Now, being great at marketing is harder than it was 5 years ago, and it will definitely get harder in the years to come. There's a few reasons for this. Number 1 is the fragmented attention span. So this is what I like to call ain't nobody got time for that. The way to think about this is to think about how are people spending their time online these days. Now, when you look at the most popular TV shows, let's say from the 1980s and the 1970s, their TV ratings were really high. Now, ratings as in how many percentage of the population of that country were watching this TV show. And it used to be super high because people are actually spending their time focused on watching television. And that was their only digital channel that they can consume content at the time. Fast forward to nowadays, in the 2000s and beyond, we're seeing people spending time on multiple digital devices. Now, their attention span are very much fragmented across devices. For instance, you could be using your smartphone while you're watching TV, or you could be watching a YouTube video, but at the same time surfing through your social media channels. So that means that people are not paying attention on one specific channel anymore. So this is actually the breakdown by eMarketer of the average time spent per day on different media channels with US adults in 2013 to 2018. Now we see that over time, television have actually decreased and started to merge on the same amount of time being spent on mobile devices. And mobile had made a huge jump from 2013 to 2018, almost by another hour spent per day. And also with radio and also print, so paper magazines and also newspapers, that stood almost equal to the radio consuming time of average adults per day. So that means mobile and TV are actually catching up to be almost equal. So people are watching TV but at the same time being on their smartphones and also consuming content on both channels. So what we understand is that the second screen is now the first screen. People are almost spending as much time watching TV as they're using their smartphones. And there's a reason for this, right? Because there's so many different apps to keep us busy, especially social media apps. Number 2, there's now a massive competition for attention. So basically, with any social media channels, there's a combination of personal and business content on social media. Now, there's a reason for this, because for us as individuals and as consumers, we're consuming content of both at the same time when we're scrolling through our social media feeds. That includes Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. So the business and personal side have definitely merged over time. But that also means that content are actually competing for our attention span, especially against those from our family and friends, which we value more when we're consuming content on these social media platforms. So that's something to keep in mind as you're creating content for your business and your brand, because you're actually competing against other people's families and friends, and how do you actually stand out? Number 3, we're no longer living in a very private world. Now, before the digital channels came into play, when you actually go tell a friend about a place, or when you go to a specific tourist destination, you will actually keep that to yourself and your own experiences and your memories. However, nowadays, we're seeing very much a public display of your memories and your experiences by sharing with others. So a quick question to you to think about is how many of you prefer customer service to actually call them on the phone versus sending them a message on social media? I don't know about you, but the last time that I had an issue, I just sent a direct message on Twitter to a specific company that I had issues with, so that way they can solve it for me straight away. And that's because we no longer have time to actually inquire and send these inquiries via the phone because we don't have time to wait. We want answers right now. And that's what every consumer is feeling at the moment. So actually, when Facebook did the survey with their audiences, over 56% of people have said that they will send an angry social media rant when they have a problem or issue, instead of actually waiting for a phone call or actually calling customer service. So this is actually very important because the last thing you want to do is have angry customers sharing about your business and actually saying bad things about your business or your brand publicly on social media. And also, there are review sites everywhere. So these include Trustpilot, Feefo, TripAdvisor, which is a big one for travel brands, and also Yelp, where people can publicly share their opinions, their experiences, and their memories of a specific product or service that they had. And again, this makes the type of things that they share very public, and other potential customers and clients can read all about your business through these reviews. And actually, studies have shown that by 2020, customer service experience is actually more important than price. So by you providing a stellar customer service across your product and your services, you can actually be more competitive than those who are offering lower price than you in the marketplace. And this is really important to remember, especially as we're now no longer living in a private world, but rather we're looking to have customers raving about us across the internet, so that way we can actually get more word of mouth referrals, which will help your business and your brand grow. So as a summary, there is a huge fragmentation of attention span. That means that people are actually distracted across different devices that they're currently using. There's also a huge competition of business and personal content on social media feeds, which means that you have to create even more stellar content to compete against those from family and friends who are also vying for your potential customers' attention. And lastly, there's a huge expectation of customer services experience. That means that customers want their problems addressed right now. So all these three factors makes marketing online even harder than it was 5 years ago. However, by knowing these three factors, you actually have a great foundation on how to address them across the different digital marketing channels that you will be using in your business. Lesson 2. What are the various digital channels? So let's take a look at the different digital channels and how they compare to the traditional marketing channels and how they're actually more beneficial for your brands and business. So I want to start by defining marketing in general. Now, this will offer everyone the same foundations, that way you understand what marketing stands for before we start going on to digital marketing. So marketing is the process of promoting a product or service. It's also developed a demand based on a need. And it also aims to trigger an emotion in your potential customer and client's mind. Now, this is actually a really good way to think about the difference between marketing and sales, and not to mix them together as the same thing. So imagine you're playing in a football game, and you're actually one of the players in the team. Now, the marketing team is actually the players who are passing around the football to each other to actually supporting the team members to get it closer to the opposition's goal. And sales team are the ones actually going to make that goal happen. So essentially, marketing will help to prepare the customer in their journey towards making that sale. And here's a marketing funnel. Now I want to go through the basis of this funnel because I want you to understand the difference in terms of layers of what you need to bring your customers down in the funnel in order to persuade them eventually to make that purchase. Now, the first layer is the awareness layer. This is where your audience actually understands more about you as a brand, so they're now aware of you and in terms of what you do. Now, the next layer is the interest layer. In this layer, people are actually understanding that they are interested in your product and services and they want to find out more. And after this layer is the consideration layer. This is where the audience is now considering potentially looking at your products and services versus the other competitors. And then the layer after this is intent. Now this is where they have the intent to buy. They're showing that intent by actually actively researching the different products and services out there that are in your industry. And after this intent is evaluation. Now they're evaluating your offer against those other offers and to see whether or not it's a good deal for them. And after this is the purchase layer. This is where the customer will actually make that purchase decision right there and then. So here are some of the good old-fashioned marketing channels. On the left-hand side, we have the telemarketers who used to call you in the old days, and they would try to sell you a product or service. And next to it is the print, which is adverts being put into newspapers and magazines where people are exposed to your brand so that they're more aware of you and potentially buy from you when they're considering products and services in your area. And next to that is mass broadcast. So this includes TV and radio adverts where people are actually sitting next to the television or the radio to actually consume television shows and radio shows, and in between those you had adverts being shown to those potential consumers, and now they're more aware of your brand because they heard or seen you on TV and radio. And lastly is the direct mail. This is where brands and businesses will send promotional letters to their audience's mailboxes. So these are actually all good old-fashioned marketing channels, some of which are still being used today. However, I want to show you guys the difference now with regards to digital marketing versus traditional marketing channels. So digital marketing is the process of promoting a product or service via electronic media. And I know this might sound really strange to you. You might be scratching your head and thinking, what is this electronic media? Let me show you what that means now. So actually, the marketing world, especially digital marketing, is a huge, huge space. As you can see of the different type of brands that are out there that are currently operating in this space for different software and different type of things that you can use. However, to think about digital marketing in a very simple way is the best way to start because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with too many different options. What you want to do is actually understand the different channels that are out there and how to make these channels work for you before you dive into the details of each channel. Now, it can also be very inexpensive. The reason why I say this is because when it comes to traditional marketing channels like newspaper ads, TV ads, and radio ads, you use that to spend tens and thousands of dollars in order to have your ads being shown to your audience. Nowadays, with digital marketing channels, you can actually start showing your ads to your audience from as little as a few dollars a day. Now, that's impressive because the amount of people that you can reach with a small budget, and at the same time, it democratizes the platforms for everyone. Another great thing about this is that you actually have more access to data. That means that you actually see which channels working better for you as a brand and business, and being able to see where to put more marketing budget behind in order to make the most return on these platforms. And that is so much better than before, where with traditional marketing channels, you won't be able to see which ads actually made your audience take action on the back of that because you can't track them. For instance, you cannot track, let's say, if someone's seen your billboard on a highway before eventually coming to your store or your online business in order to make that sale. Whereas with everything online, you can track starting from the moment someone has seen your ad all the way to the moment that they have made the purchase. Now, I know there are a lot of marketing channels out there, and it might feel like very overwhelming because when you first start out, it feels like there's so many different options. What can I do and where can I start? But don't worry, this is what this course is all about. You will be able to understand the foundations of these channels and the basics of how to use them from the start. Now, these are the digital marketing channels that we'll be talking about in this course. So you have search engine optimization, social media, paid search, email marketing, content marketing, and also your website or your app. And these are the ones where we'll go into more detail to go through each one so that way you understand the basics of what they are and also how to start using them. But in the meantime, this is to give you guys a good overview of what these channels are. Now, in lesson 3 and 4, we'll be looking at how are you going to be using these channels, and we'll be putting our thinking hats on and actually applying these in a real world example. So I hope that you find this helpful, especially now seeing this in a more contextual way. Now, we're going to use a brand called HelloFresh, and they're actually one of my favorite brands in London where I can order these pre-made ingredient boxes where I can use to cook dinner and lunch and whatever meal that I use it for. So that way I don't need to think about buying specific ingredients and having to go to the supermarket and do that. So here they actually package all the pre-portioned ingredients that you need to cook deliciously weak recipes and deliver to your door as well, which makes it super easy. So that's their business proposition. And this is actually on their website where they actually have this copy that tells their customer exactly what they stand for and also what they're offering. So in this case, we're going to start looking at their website to start evaluating how they're using this particular channel. So on this website, where you first come here, you will see that on the top, they're asking for your email address in order to have their potential audience keep up to date with deliciously recipes, offers, and news that can be sent to their inbox. So it's a great way to capture those audiences that are at your website before they leave. Now, over 80% of website traffic do not actually come back to the same website again. So that means that if you can actually capture this information from your audience, it's very helpful. So it's a great thing to have on the website there to get an email newsletter, start collecting email addresses. And also on the rest of the website, we see that it has the top layer menus, which makes it very easy for someone to come onto the site to actually start looking through the content of the website. And also there's an area where on the main header, you have view our boxes under dinner solved. And this is where people can start looking at recipes and start ordering straight away. So the key thing with websites is that you want to think about what's your main objective when it comes to someone coming to your website for the first time. Now with HelloFresh, because their brand is all about getting people to start using them, to start buying their boxes, they want to view their boxes and start ordering them. So that is their main objective. Now, the issue with website is that there's also so many screens and they're very different experiences on different screens. So you can have a mobile screen, you can have a tablet, you can have a laptop. And when you're on different screens, that means that you want to give people a really great experience on that screen size, no matter where they are. So on the left-hand side in the top, that's actually on a laptop PC screen. This is where you see the website being shown in a very much a horizontal manner and the website content laid out nicely as well. Underneath it is actually the tablet version. So this is where the tablet will be showing the website a bit more shorter. So now you're seeing it in a more portrait format instead of landscape on the top. But also you see how some of the menus have actually collapsed in. So that way it's showing less on the top menu, but people can actually click to see more. So this way it doesn't actually distort any content. It makes it very easy to look at as well from a consumer perspective. On the right hand side is actually the same exact website on a mobile screen. So when I'm on the mobile to look at the same website, this is what it looks like. The reason for this is because so many websites now are being viewed on the mobile screen. And you want to make sure that your website's optimized for mobile from the start. And people are actually more optimized for mobile now than ever because a lot of times when we're on the go, we have our mobile devices rather than being near a PC or a laptop. So you want to make sure that your website looks stellar on a mobile format, and that's actually optimized for a small screen. And here's the data where in December 2017, eMarketer actually did a research that 78.9% of users actually view websites on a mobile globally. So that's a huge percentage, and you want to make sure your website is mobile first. So one thing right now to do as an action point is to check, is your website optimized for mobile devices and also other devices? So you can just load them onto your mobile or on your iPad, whatever it might be, so you can test your website on different sizes. Or you can simply just resize your window that you're using your internet service on and then be able to see how it looks on different screens. So Chrome, by the way, is a great way to do this. And then also you want to check how long does it take to load your website. The reason why you want to make sure your website takes a shorter amount of time to actually load is because the longer it takes to load, especially on mobile, the less people have the attention span or the patience to wait for it to load. So let's say you have a lot of different content that might be large images and large size files that takes a long time for the mobile device to load the website, you will lose a lot of visitors coming to your website for the very first time. So it's a really important one to check as well. Now, there's actually a great website that you can use to test your website speed and also other things with regards to the layout. So you can just go to testmysite.withgoogle.com/intl/en-gb. Now, depending on your country that you're in, you can just Google test my site, and this should bring up the site that's relevant to your country. But the ones I provided here is actually relevant to the UK. So feel free to just Google test my site and you'll be able to see it right there. So now we'll be looking at digital marketing channels within search engine optimization and also paid search. Now the reason why I grouped these two together is that search engine optimization is actually a free form of marketing where you can use it in a very strategic way to do it for free. And then paid search is actually the paid version of this where you can be paid to be found online when people are searching for something. So we'll go through the details of it now. Now in this example, for HelloFresh, if we were to Google the word food delivery, now we see two different types of search results on Google. So on the top level is actually the paid search ads. You see how there's actually a little green box where it says ad, and next to it is the actual link that HelloFresh has paid for the ad itself. So in this case, we see that fresh food box delivery was their ad copy, and next to it says HelloFresh 50% off 2 boxes. So this is a way to let the potential consumer know that when you search for food delivery, there's an option for a fresh food box delivery from HelloFresh. And they actually bid pretty high in terms of the search results. So they're actually ranked number 1. And underneath that ad section, you see how there is this another search result called London food delivery, restaurant near me, Uber Eats. So in this case, Uber Eats, which is HelloFresh's competitor, actually ranked number 1 for this food delivery result. Now that means that clearly HelloFresh has to do some more work in order to compete with Uber Eats. But I want to use this as an example to show you what it looks like when it comes to paid search and also search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is a free version of marketing where if you use it in the right way, you can show up top in terms of the search results without having to pay for it. And then paid search ads are those that you pay for in order to show top of the search results. So the way to think about search engine optimization and also paid search ads is what keywords are your potential customers typing into Google or other search engines. This is a great place to start because if you know what keywords they're typing, then these are the keywords that you want to target as a start. Now, a great tool to use this with is called the Google Keywords Planner. When you go onto this tool, you can actually search for the useful keywords that people are currently using to find the search results that you want to be listed for. And therefore, you can start targeting those keywords on your website so that way you can get found organically by people who are typing these words. The other way is to actually buy ads based on these keywords so that way you show up for the search results. Another great tool that you want to incorporate is the Google Webmaster Tools. Now, this Webmaster tool will tell you what people are searching for when they're coming to your website. So let's say a specific keyword got you a really great result and you're getting lots of search traffic on the back of that, then you can actually find out through Google Webmaster Tools on which potential keywords you actually have done to create that traffic source. Now, here are my tips on SEO, search engine optimization, and how to use it better. So you want to make sure you're creating user-friendly content. That means that it's not stuffed full of keywords and also doesn't have a lot of hidden text and links. But also you want to have a simple URL structure, meaning that you want to have something like loriwang.com/marketing rather than loriwang.com/1234 question mark and things like that, because that's not friendly for search engine to find your content. And lastly, you want to also avoid duplicate pages and content because that's a red flag. Next, we're going to look at social media and how to use this within your digital marketing channel combination. So here on the left-hand side is HelloFresh's Instagram account. And in this case, HelloFresh have clearly laid out their profile image, which is their logo. They have a range of different Instagram stories highlights that you can tap into to find out more, like the way they organize content on their website. So you have, let's say, HelloFresh moments, menu, community, and blog. And also they have a whole entire collection of images and videos on the back of their brand. Now on the right hand side is their Twitter account. And here they use it as a way to highlight some of the different competitions they have, the updates. So in this case, the company is doing a really fun competition where one food-loving applicant will be paid £600 to test out their brand new family recipes. So another great way to get people involved in the process, and because their entire business is based on recipes, this makes a lot of sense. Now, Deliveroo is a food delivery service, so they're not exactly a direct competitor to HelloFresh, but I want to show you another version of what social media accounts can be used for. So Deliveroo is actually very strong on social media, especially Instagram, because they have a clear brand definition and also very clear brand look and feel. So in this case, when you go to their Instagram account, you see that they do majority videos, which are very enticing when it comes to the different things they're showcasing, like a really nice looking burger or a really nice looking egg on toast. But what they also have is a very clear imagery and also very, very bright colors. That's exactly what they are as a brand. So when you come to their social media accounts, you get the very consistent look and feel and experience as a consumer. And this is how you build that like, know, and trust factor over time with your audience. In this course, unfortunately, I won't go into the details of using social media specifically. However, if you want to find out more about that, on my website, loriwang.com, there's actually a free 7-day social media email course that you can sign up for to find out more how to use these different channels in a very effective way. So in this combination digital marketing, social media is one of the key channels for sure. And I want you to think about this in a very creative way of how to integrate social media in terms of what you do on your online marketing channels. Now here are my overview of tips on social media. However, like I mentioned earlier, if you want more tips on this, there's actually a free email course on my website when you go to loriwang.com, or you can go to loriwang.com/social media and you'll be able to sign up for the email course there. So first of all, you want to understand your demographic. Who are you actually speaking to? By knowing this clearly, then you know where you should be using social media and not on every single platform. Because by using every single platform, I guarantee that that's where you will actually burn out, because there's not enough time in the day to create content for every single platform out there. And actually, your target audience is probably not on every single platform anyway. Second, you want to choose 2 to 3 maximum, so that way you can manage those social media channels effectively and start creating content that makes sense for those audiences. You want to also create high quality content and think about when is the best time to post, because you want to make sure that's when your audiences are online and actually going to be seeing them as well. Another great thing to try is on social, you can now do a lot of live content and behind the scenes content. And people love having a little sneak peek in terms of what you do in your brand, your business. So don't be afraid to showcase some of those as well. And lastly, when you collaborate influencers, that is where you get the lasting results by leveraging influences that people have already built with their own audience. So if you actually align with the right ones and creating a win-win situation on both sides and making sure that they're also getting compensated for their efforts, this could be also a very effective format of marketing too. So now we're going to be looking at email marketing and how this will be integrated into your digital marketing channels as well. This itself is another marketing channel that you can leverage to reach your audiences in a very effective way. Now, remember earlier I said on the HelloFresh website, a really great way to start is to make sure you capture those emails of audiences coming to your website for the very first time. And here is actually an example of what Deliveroo have sent out to their email subscribers in terms of useful content in the email format that their subscribers would enjoy. So this week in their email, they said you could win the trip of a lifetime for two to Mexico, order from restaurants marked with the win a taste tour tag, and if you find a Deliveroo passport in your order, you won, which is basically going to Tulum for free. And it says, here we come. And underneath it, there's a call to action button called order now for a chance to win. And also another email that was great coming from a brand called Tortilla is that they created a recipe guide on how to make the best guacamole. Now, clearly for a subscriber to Tortilla, which is a Mexican joint in London, they're interested in cooking Mexican at one point at home as well. And guacamole is not the easiest thing to get right, I have to be honest. So in this case, by giving someone a really nice mental recipe that they can print out, it makes a really useful piece of content that their audience would enjoy and most likely will stay an email subscriber that way too. So I hope that these two examples gave you some inspiration on what you could send out to your audience on your email newsletter. So once you start building that email subscriber list, then you can think about the content that they will enjoy, that they will find useful when you send it to them, and they want to stay an email subscriber over time too. Now, email lists are also very effective in the sense that you actually own this list of people that you currently create content for. So that means that every time you send an email out, every single person will receive an email from you. Now, whether or not they open that email is a different question, and that's really a factor of how you create really engaging headlines in your email. But that's for a different course. However, in this lesson, I want you to think about how to start capturing emails on your website or your app, etc. And also, how do you start sending out useful content that's entertaining and enlightening to your audience. Now, a few great apps here that you can use for your emails. So I like MailChimp because it's a great way to get started for free. And I believe you can still have at least 1,000 subscribers on here without having to pay for a monthly plan. So that's great. And I always say in the beginning, start with easy, start with free, because then you can work your way up to more complicated apps as you get yourself familiar with these different channels. And Zapier is a great one because you can use this to integrate so many different platforms that you have. And if you currently have an email subscriber box on your website, for example, you can use Zapier to make sure those are connected to your MailChimp service. And Constant Contact is another one to look into, but I highly recommend MailChimp to get started. Here are some of my top level tips on email marketing that you can start actioning straight away. So first of all, I want you to create useful content on a regular basis, and then using your email to send out these to your audiences. And make sure to actually cultivate that relationship with your audience before asking for a sell on your product or services. The reason why I say this is because you want to build that like, know, and trust factor with your audience over time. And by creating a useful content that you can engage with them on a regular basis, that is how you build that over time. And also you want to encourage them to sign up to your email newsletter on different channels that you're currently on. So that way you can collect all these audiences as audience that you own rather than audience that you borrow, for instance, on social media where you have to pay now to actually be shown on different platforms. And you want to make it as easy as possible for yourself So make sure to remember to automate as many things as possible. Now, I want you to reflect in your own business or brand. Do you currently capture emails of your audience? And if so, how are you doing that right now? And if not, where can you incorporate this onto your online websites or apps that you can start to collect email addresses from your audience from today? Great, now we're on to the last digital marketing channel, which is all about content marketing. Now, before I go into the details of content marketing, don't worry, it's actually a lot simpler than you think, but the execution is where it's most important. You want to make sure you execute this as often as possible that you have time for, so that way your audience will know more about you over time. So content marketing starts with creating engaging content. Now, in this case, I use Deliveroo as an example, where they actually have a really useful food blog. It's called Food Scene. And here they have listed an article called Top Food Trends for 2018 as predicted by our global teammates on Deliveroo. Now, as a foodie and also being a potential customer of theirs, this is something that's actually very useful to me and also very interesting. Of course, I want to know what the food trends are for 2018. And also, I'm really into the latest and the hottest food trends, right? I want to try different kind of food items that are out there in the restaurants of London. Now, this is the data for you that I think is really interesting. 72% marketers said relevant content creation is the best SEO tactic as well. So SEO again stands for search engine optimization. So in this case, by using relevant content creation that your audience find useful, that is how you actually create that search engine optimization strategy that works well for your website and your brand. Because that's when they're searching for information that's relating to what they're looking for to your product and services. And that's how they become aware of who you are. And ultimately, as they find out, eventually they might turn into a potential customer or a client. Now, in this lesson, we're going to go through the next steps and action points that you can start to leverage from the knowledge that you just gained from this entire course. So obviously, this course is very much a foundational level course. However, I hope that it gave you a really good overview of what's currently out there in terms of digital marketing channels and how to start thinking about using the combination of them in your business and brand. So this is a common digital marketing strategy journey. What you do is you want to set objectives in the beginning. So for example, your objective could be, I want to grow my email subscribers and also my website traffic. So that could be your objective. Now, at the end of the year, you can then check into the objective by using your KPIs. So this is where we define KPIs. And KPIs are basically key performance indicators. So these are things that are quantifiable type of objectives that you can check in with. So in this case, it could be, I want to grow my email subscribers to 1,000 people, let's say. Or the other thing on the website traffic could be, I want to have at least 1,000 visitors a month to my website. So this way you can then check in on whether or not you fulfill this KPI by the end of the year. Now, after that, you want to design the tactics into your marketing plan. So in this case, it could be you want to employ using search engine optimization. You want to use some paid search. So these will actually help to increase your website traffic, for example. And at the same time, for those website visitors, when they're on your website, they might sign up for your email newsletter as well. So in this case, you potentially could increase your email subscribers too. And these are your tactics. Then you're going to be executing your campaign. So this is when you start to execute it by start creating the different type of campaigns for your marketing. So it could be you start a paid search campaign or you start targeting different keywords that people can use to come to your website when they're searching for. Or you can then target different keywords in your content where you're writing blog posts about it and people are actually coming to your website that way as well. And then after that, you want to measure your outcomes. So as in, how successful was your campaign by seeing how many people came to your website on a monthly basis and how many people sign up for your newsletter on a monthly basis. And lastly, you want to optimize for good results. So in this case, let's say your paid search campaign did really well. then in that case, you can then start to increase more marketing dollars on those campaigns to make sure you get more return of that channel. So here's an overview of what I just said earlier about the different kind of objectives that you can have on your website, on your email subscribers, and also increasing your leads coming in as customers or clients. And you can say things like increase leads by 10% by December 2018, for example, increase traffic by 25% to your website by August 2019, increase email subscribers by 30% by February 2019. So these are actually very quantifiable successes that you can check in with. And here's an overview of what that looks like again, just in case you need a review. And that's it in this lesson. Any questions, please let me know. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at I am Lori Wang. You can also email me at lori@loriwang.com. And lastly, remember you can head to my website to find out the different free resources that you can sign up for. So there's a free 7-day social media email training course. There's also a free Instagram cheat sheet that you can download. So the free email course for social media is loriwang.com/social media. And the Instagram cheat sheet is loriwang.com/Instagram. Fantastic. I hope you found that useful. Let me know if any questions, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.